Hi, in this video, we are going to discuss the scope and nature of environmental management. It is a part of foundations in environmental management and it is a subject of NEBOSH certificate in environment management, EMC1 new syllabus and EC1 old. So in this video, the learning outcomes are understanding and managing environment, then barriers to good environmental management, then environmental impacts and key environmental issues. So now we will see the definition of environment. So the environment consists of the physical resources of the earth, then living resources and human population. So the physical resources of the earth includes water, raw material, land and atmosphere. So all this comprises of physical resource of the earth. So the living resource are animals and plants. So the environmental management is concerned with understanding these elements and how they interrelate. So according to ISO 14001, it defines environment as the surrounding in which an organization operates, including air, water, land, natural resources, flora, fauna, humans, and their interrelationship. Surroundings can extend from within an organization to local, regional, and global systems. So, in this definition, the natural resources means land or raw material that occurs naturally in environment. Flora means plant life, fauna means animal life, and environmental media are air, land, and water. So now the next topic is the multidisciplinary nature of environmental management. So the first is scientific or technical discipline. So this includes physics, chemistry, bio, geology, and engineering. The next discipline of the environment management is social, which includes public health and awareness. And the third is political. So this may include town planning, country planning, and also the legislation. So these all scientific or technical, social, and political. These are the various disciplinary nature of environmental management. So environmental management can be uh, seen as the scientific or technical as well as social as well as political. So now the next topic is barriers to good standard of environmental management. So what are the barriers which prevents the good standard of environmental management? So first is the complexity. Second is competing and conflicting demand. And third is behavioral issue. So the first, in the complexity, it is difficult in choosing which environmental impact to address among the numerous impact in an organization. An organization may have number of environmental impacts, but the priority to be given has to be decided. And it requires a background knowledge of environmental impact before addressing them. So which environmental impacts to choose and also the knowledge of addressing them. Second is competing and conflicting demand. So this includes the financial, this is because the financial pressure to compete in the market and the conflict between health safety versus environment. For example, the dust released in the environment to protect the worker. Some may argue that the safety should be given priority, and some may argue that environment should be given the priority. So there is a conflicting and competing demand. The third is behavioral issue. So the attitude of people doesn't change even after the publicity of the environmental impacts. For example, the people don't use public transport even after knowing that the more they use the personal vehicles, the more they are contributing or damaging the environment. Similarly, the attitude doesn't also changes at the workplace. So these all are the barriers to the good standard of environmental management. So now we will discuss the size of environmental problem. So the environmental problem can be a global issue like marine pollution, ozone depletion, acid rain, global warming, SOx, NOx, and carbon dioxide. So it can be a regional or national issue like low level ozone, river pollution, or it may be a local issue like dust contamination of land, noise, fumes, rains. So the problem of the environment may navigate from the local issue to the regional issue and from the regional or national issue to the global issue. For example, the contaminated drains in the local issue may join a river and it may become a river pollution, which is a national issue, and the river pollution may join the marine or the ocean, and it may cross the international boundary and may become a global issue. So this is the size of the environmental problem. So now, what are the local effects of the pollution? So first local effect of the pollution is the poor air quality. This can be caused by high local traffic or industrial process. The second local effect of the pollution is the contaminated land from the industrial processes where spills or accident has occurred. Then is the water pollution. Accidental spillage from the industrial process may lead to the water pollution. Then is the noise pollution and odor pollution and light pollution. So this can be addressed as the local effect of the pollution. So the carbon emission and the climate change. So the global climate change, the first decade of the 21st century was the warmest on the record over last 150 years. The temperature of the atmosphere has increased by 1 degree Celsius. So there is a strong evidence that the climate change is related to the pollution of the atmosphere through the mechanism known as greenhouse effect. So now what is greenhouse effect? So the greenhouse effect is a natural phenomenon. The sun irradiates the earth with its energy and earth gets warm. The earth emits the energy back into the space in the form of infrared radiation. Some of this radiation are absorbed by the greenhouse gases that occurs naturally in the atmosphere. Primarily, the water vapor, carbon dioxide, and methane. These are the greenhouse gases which absorbs this some of this part of radiation. The greenhouse gases help to reduce the heat loss which is required to maintain the balance. Otherwise, the earth would be below 0 degrees Celsius. So what it means that the greenhouse gases are naturally present in the environment like water vapor, carbon dioxide, and methane. So as the sun hits the earth radiates back that heat in the form of infrared radiation. And if all the heat gets lost from the earth's surface, then earth would be a very cooler planet. But we require some heat to carry out the life processes on the earth. So that heat is very much required. So this greenhouse, naturally occurring greenhouse gases actually absorb this uh, radiated heat from the earth, and it helps to keep the earth warmer. So this is called the greenhouse effect. So where is the problem? So the problem is the burning of the fossil fuel like oil, gas, petrol, diesel, which accounts for 85% of the world's energy consumption. They release large quantity of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. Large quantity of the carbon dioxide in the atmosphere artificially increases the greenhouse effect, leading to the climate change. So more quantity of carbon dioxide artificially will absorb more amount of irradiated infrared radiation, and it would lead to more warmer climate. So what are the consequences of the greenhouse effect? So as the earth gets more warm, the rise in the sea level due to melting of polar ice caps, then the due to climate change due to increased temperature, then the climate change due to increased temperature may bring drought in the food producing region. Then it may cause high winds. Then it may cause also a flood. So how to reduce the fossil fuel burning, especially by the power stations and the vehicles? So the power station and vehicles are most uh, the most consuming are the most consuming fossil fuels. So how to reduce the energy consumption? So the energy consumption can be reduced by improved insulation. The lesser energy loss would lead to the lesser use of energy consumption. Next is the increased efficiency of the energy use. Adopting the best industrial practices, use of fuel efficiently, use of the fuel efficient vehicles. By this, we can increase the efficiency of the energy use. The third is the alternative energy source like wind energy, water energy, nuclear energy. This we can use to reduce the use of the fossil fuel. The next is the fuel releasing the lesser carbon dioxide. Like natural gas as compared to the coal produces twice energy per kg by consuming by consuming the 75% of the product. So now we will discuss the air pollution and ground levels, ozone and acid rain. So the main cause of the air pollution are releases from the vehicles and industries. So vehicle emits mixture of gases and particulate matters that can cause harm to the environment and human health. Gases like SOx and NOx. So the NOx, the nitrous oxide, uh, may, in the presence of sunlight, produces the low level ozone, which is uh, low level ozone, which is harmful for the, or which is the poisonous for the human beings. So SOx and NOx uh, may, in the presence of the moisture, produces acid rain. It produces dilute sulfuric acid or nitric acid. Now we can see the equation of the formation of acid rain. Like two parts of the nitrogen dioxide and water produces nitrous acid HNO2 plus nitric acid HNO3. So this nitric acid or nitrous acid are the source of the acid rain. So next is the air pollution and ozone layer. So the ozone molecules O3 at altitude of 15 to 20 kilometer in the stratosphere protects us from the harmful ultraviolet radiation, a major cause of the skin cancer by absorbing it. So certain chemicals may destroy the ozone layer and are known as ozone depleters. Most ozone depleters are the chemically stable containing halogen elements, chlorine and bromine. So the chemically stable compounds contains halogen elements, chlorine and bromine have been used as a refrigerant gas, propellant for aerosol sprays, foam blowing agents, firefighting agents, solvents. For example, chlorofluorocarbons, CFCs, HCFCs, hydrochlorofluorocarbons, carbon tetrachloride, and halogens. So the ozone depleting substances are very stable, and if released by the human activity, they persist in the atmosphere until they drift up to the ozone layer in the stratosphere. So in the stratosphere, these substances are exposed to the ultraviolet radiation, which liberates charged chlorine and bromine atom from the parent atom known as free radicals. The free radicals are able to react with the with and break down the ozone layer. Like the free radicals from the chlorofluorocarbons or HCFCs, like chlorine, when it reacts with the ozone molecule O3, it gives ClO plus O2, and ClO further reacts with O3 to produce chlorine radical plus two parts of oxygen. So O3 now changes to oxygen. So O3, the ozone molecules break down into the oxygen particles. Now our next topic is the hydrological cycle. Water is an essential resource and is recycled naturally by hydrological cycle as shown in the figure. This includes evaporation, condensation, transpiration, then transportation, then deposition, precipitation, infiltration or percolation. These all are the process of are the water cycle. processes. So because of this cycle, there can be accumulation of the pollutants through the water catchments. Water catchment is the area of land that drains water from snow, rain, etc. into the river. And so making prevention of this accumulation of pollutants is important. So water can be polluted directly through discharge to river or lakes, which are the point sources, and indirectly through the runoff or surface flow from contaminated land, or indirectly through the deposition of the airborne pollutants into the water course, which are the non-point sources. So the now we will discuss the pollutant sources in the hydrological cycle. So the water quality can be adversely affected by number of the types of pollutants such as nutrients. So the excessive nutrients like nitrogen and phosphorus in the water course, the source is from the agricultural land. The water runoff from the agricultural land may contain the nutrients in excess like nitrogen and phosphorus. So this can uh, run off to the water course and can cause excessive growth of the aquatic plants. So this may result or this may directly result in the excessive growth of green and or blue-green algae. So the excessive growth of blue-green algae or green algae prevents the sunlight penetration and deoxygenate water at the night, and thus it adversely affecting the plant and animal life. So this whole process is called eutrophication. Our next pollutant source is the organic waste. So the human and animal effluent, silages or milk in the water course may promote the growth of aerobic or oxygen using bacteria. So the aerobic bacteria demands higher oxygen and reduced oxygen level and reduces the oxygen level in the water, and so affects the life of the other higher life forms like fishes. So the whole process is called biological oxygen demand. The third pollutant source of the water or the hydrological cycle is the immiscible liquid. So this liquid doesn't mix with the water, such as oil-based products. They form the layer at the top of the water surface and prevents the transfer of oxygen and other gases between water and atmosphere. They coat the leaves of the plant and are toxic to the animal. So the next pollutant source is the sedimentation. The suspended solution can be from the man-made or the natural sources. Natural source like runoff from the hillside or man-made sources like dewatering of the quarry. The quarry is the mining area. So it this suspended solid may reduce the sunlight penetration which is necessary for photosynthesis. So the physical problems like damaging the plant due to the load of the suspended solids, and also the destroying the breeding ground for the aquatic animals. So the next polluted source is the flow rate change. The plant or animal life are adapted to the specific condition like flow rate. Any change in the flow rate can result in the reduction or changing of the plant and animal species able to survive in that environment. The next pollutant source are the pathogens. Untreated sewage and animal waste in the water result in the disease causing organisms such as bacteria, virus, and parasitic worms. The next pollutant source is the temperature change. So the water, uh, so the warm water discharges from the industrial process in the cold water course results in reduced oxygen level because warm water can hold lesser oxygen. So it affects the aquatic plant and animal life to survive in that environment. Next are the harmful chemicals. The chemicals like methyl mercury, lead, and salt enters the food chain, which are harmful for aquatic, plant, and animal life. Next pollutant source is the acidity. Acid rain in the water course and the due to the rain, the aluminum, lead, tin, copper, manganese from the soil may leach out and enter into the water course, which are toxic to the aquatic plant and animal, leading to death. So our next topic is deforestation, soil erosion, and land quality. So the deforestation can contribute to the following climate change. So the more burning and decay of the wood will release carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. So uh, the more carbon dioxide will be released, more will be the greenhouse effect. So the lesser carbon dioxide will be removed from the environment through photosynthesis because the lesser the forest are, the lesser the forest becomes, the lesser the photosynthesis processes carried by the volume of the uh, trees will take place, and so lesser carbon dioxide will be removed. So it will also make the climate drier as the tree takes the groundwater to the atmosphere through roots. The risk of the flash flood will increase due to more surface water runoff. The trees helps to hold the surface water. Then the cohesion of the soil is reduced, resulting in the fertile soil eroded, and it increases the risk of the landslide. Also, the reduction in the genetic variation may result in lesser resistance to the pest. So the crops may get easily affected by the pest due to the reduction in the genetic variation, which is directly related to the deforestation. And many undiscovered plants in the forest may get destroyed, which may have a medicinal use. And also the deforestation for the agricultural purpose may use shifting agriculture, which is slash and burn, which may lead out the nutrients available at the few centimeters of the topsoil. So all this contributes to the climate change as a result of deforestation. So now what we will discuss the material resources and land despollution. So the land grabbing for the agriculture use results in the forced eviction of indigenous people who are dependent on the land for livelihood and water. So this may also reduce the biodiversity, and it may reduce the underground water level, and it may harm the environment by excessive use of pesticides. So the biodiversity is the number of species uh, in a place. So now we will discuss about the energy supplies. So the fuel combustion results in acid rain, then smog, then it dwindles the resource as the fossil fuels takes millions of years to form, and the consumption may not replenish them quickly. Also, the deforestation for the use of the wood as a fuel may lead to the reduced carbon sink, because the trees removes the carbon dioxide in the process of photosynthesis from the environment. And also the pollution from the fuel combustion may affect the health, and altogether it will contribute to the climate change. So now the effects in the environment due to the international waste trade. So the inappropriate storage, handling, and disposal of the waste may lead to the land contamination, water pollution, air pollution, and exposure of the people to the harmful substance.